Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Health Made Simple Show. I'm your host, Dr. Bart, and I got a great conversation, a great podcast for you tonight. Going to be a really what I consider a very fun and might be a little bit of a pokey conversation in the sense that I'm going to challenge most of you. I think this is going to be extremely motivating for many of you, especially for those of you who, when it comes to your health and your goals and your desires, when it comes to your personal health and vitality, if they're sitting on the edge, or in the event that you need to take more action, that that you're capable of more, that you're worthy of more, and for some reason you haven't really put in all the hard work, quite frankly. You just, for some reason, some days you're good, some days you're not, but for some reason you're not sustaining a certain level of discipline for the hard work. And this is for everyone that's in that category. And I think to some degree, all of us are in that category. Another way I could say that this is for all of us that are seeking the easy way, the comfortable way when it comes to approaching our health, whether it be our diet or our exercise or nutrition, whatever it may be, that we seek comfort. And I see this often. So in fact, a big part of this conversation tonight is my observation over 27 years of being a healthcare practitioner, of watching and observing people, what happens when they haven't put in the hard work, when they've continuously subtle, very little steps at a time, taking little comfort steps. It's a little bit easier to do it this way. It's not that big of a deal if I just don't do the exercise this morning. These subtle but continuously constant levels of comfort. And I think after observing this for 27 years, in practice, watching people come in with some people with extraordinary types of health and people that health are declining and wishing that they had their health back. One of the things that I recognize is a lot of times that it is our constant seeking of comfort and pleasure and ease that is probably aging and making us sick, aging us faster and making us sick more frequent and even worse. So that being said, let me do a little updates. We're going to get that. We're going to dive deep into that in just a moment here. All right, a couple quick updates before we get rolling here. One, for those who've been asking about our cleanse that we do at the beginning of the year, yes, we're going to do it. It'll officially this year, it's going to kick off on January 1st, which is perfect time. That is, so for those of you going to go through the holidays, do your best through the holidays. The goal is that you do better this year than you did last year. You don't have to punish yourself with food and alcohol and all those things. So be kind to yourself, be nice to yourself. This is kind of the perfect conversation tonight about those, how to approach the holidays. So January 1st, we're kicking off. You can do our cleanse from anywhere in the country, easy breezy. Go to our website, Balance 30A. It'll most likely be posted by Thanksgiving, where you can literally click order your supplement, your cleanse online, and we can send it out to you. And of course, we're going to have our community. We'll have a Facebook page and a lot of other good things. We kind of keep looking out for that. We'll post those things and whatnot, and you're going to be able to do that. You'll be able to buy that cleanse if you choose to do so online. If you want, we can pick it up in our studio. So that's number one. And then in the event, I get the question all the time, we'll get emails, can you do a consult with me even though you don't live in the state? And the answer is yes. So same thing. You can just reach out or call our studio, or you can send us an email. Our website is balance30a. That's the number 30a.com. And if you'd like to do a consult, we can do something similar to this. We get on a Zoom call together. We can send out labs, everything that we need to do, all the functional testing, et cetera. All right. So those are little updates, and let's get back to this. So let's have the conversation about, is the seeking of comfort, is trying to make things a little bit easier, taking the easier road out, quite frankly. Is it really the root cause of our aging and our sickness? And after practicing for 27 years, I would say for the most part, the answer is absolutely yes. It might be at the root cause of everybody's sickness and disease, is that we've taken the easy route, the comfortable route, too many times, too often. The challenge is that it's not as measurable. It's not as cumulatively measurable. So, okay, I didn't choose to flex my discipline with my diet today. I didn't choose to flex my discipline with my exercise today. And you don't all of a sudden just end up sick and tired and diseased and unhealthy and unmotivated in your life. It is the cumulative effect of making these decisions. And truth is, I don't know if we've been hypnotized or we are just kind of fallen into place that society and culture says, it shouldn't be that hard. Health shouldn't be that hard. Wealth shouldn't be that hard. Relationships shouldn't be hard. The truth is they are. Anyone that has had success in those would tell you that they've all had their trials. They've all had their tribulations, and they're all worth it. They're worth it to go all the hard work to experience the joy and pleasure of having a great health, great wealth, great relationships. So tonight I'm going to push some buttons a little bit. And again, I'm hopefully motivating those of you, including myself, quite frankly, for the people that are on the edge, that you might not be doing it your best, but you got more. And there's a greater version of you that could be being expressed, but it's not, because you're playing the game a little soft. You're kind of leaning into the ease and comfort. So I'll map these out, because some of you might not even understand that you're playing this way. So I'll map it out a little bit, and I'll kind of really talk to the 4 probably most common ways that I see people lean in the direction of comfort with medications. We're going to cover that tonight. That should be a fun one. We'll talk about supplementation, where people often will lean into the comfort and the ease and maybe hypnosis, words of other, why they don't do proper supplementation. We'll talk about exercise. We're definitely going to talk about diet. And right away, you might be thinking, oh, well, some of those is just too hard to do this or whatnot. So we'll tackle those, and hopefully the goal is that you see the light, that in the event that you tackle the hard stuff, that by tackling the hard stuff, eventually it becomes easy stuff. And then when you really are faced with something challenging, it's easy for you, because you are used to working hard. And I'll tell you one of the reasons that this whole conversation is happening today. So my wife and I recently bought a cold plunge for our house. And that's actually the brand. So I have no affiliation with the brand. It's just the one we chose to go to our house. And I was doing some of the other things. I was doing the best I can every now and then, taking a cold shower. Every now and then I would jump in a cold pool. Wasn't really doing it. And part of the reason is I don't like cold. I've never really have. I grew up in the Northeast. I guess I dealt with it, but moving to the South for the past 30 plus years, maybe I become a little soft when it comes to the weather. And I got some other excuses. Yeah, I don't carry a lot of body fat and whatnot. So my body's not doesn't really enjoy being in the cold yet. I also recognize that if I start making excuses and I start to limit my life on whether the weather is too hot or too cold, I'm essentially becoming a weaker human being. I'm going to experience life differently. And how does that look? How do I see this in practice? Not only for my own self. And sometimes I've used it. Oh, it's too hot, it's too cold, it's too wet, it's too sunny, whatever it may be. How do I see this show up in practice? All the time, every single day, I have someone that will say something along the lines of, well, I didn't ride my bike today because it was too hot. I didn't ride my bike today because it was too cold. I didn't go for a walk today because it's too hot or it's too cold. And listen, folks, if you ever use these, regardless of the temperatures now, we're becoming soft. We're becoming weaker. And this is what I mean about comfort. Now that's a perfect example. To be comfortable, you stayed out of the heat. You stayed out of the cold. Did it make you a stronger, healthier human being? No. What if we had the ability to adapt and we could handle the cold? This is what I'm talking about. What if we had the ability to adapt and we could handle the heat better? What if we did whatever it took? Now, one of the reasons we don't is because the truth is it's going to take a lot of things. It's going to take a lot of things for us to be able to manage and have a greater capacity to handle the different stressors in life. But when we put them all together and we become awesome human beings, we are super human. We are super capable of handling a lot more than we currently are. And again, this is partly motivated. I'll talk about my plunge in just a moment. But after 27 years, and I think recently watching family and friends and some of the people that I'm close with age, I can't reverse time for them. And I wish that they had stronger disciplines to their habits decades ago. Not last week, not last month, not today. Because quite frankly, often to build great health is going to take a fair amount of time. And we are in the driver's seat. That's the beauty. That's the part I want you to stay motivated about. That today, listen, there's a good chance you're going to be here in 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years from today, depending on your age. But nonetheless, there's a good chance that everyone listening to this is going to be here in that period of time. So today would be the absolute perfect time for us to start taking on the things that are a little bit harder and they push us a little bit, because knowing that comfort and softness and ease ultimately will be our demise to sickness and also to aging. And we'll walk into that in just a moment. All right. So back to the plunge real quickly here. So I'm not a big fan of the cold, and I made a commitment, especially because I spent the money. So many of you are probably like that. Often if I spend the money, I'm going to do it. So we spent a fair amount of money to buy a plunge we have sitting in our backyard on our pool deck. And it's really easy. Well, it's not easy. It's easier to do a cold plunge when it's like 85 degrees out, but it's no longer 85 degrees out. In fact, this morning it's probably 51 degrees out. It was drizzling, which is rain and cold, and it was windy. And last night I asked my wife, I said, do you think I'm going to do it tomorrow? Because I've become absolutely addicted to cold plunging. Now, mind you, I don't like it. I literally do not like it. And to do it every morning when my wife asks me or anyone else asks me, so how do you do it? How do you get yourself motivated? It is not motivation that buys this one. I literally have to hit the F it button. Meaning you got to push that button. It's like when you jump off a cliff. There's no way to do it other than you just got to jump. So for me, I just got to get into it, stop thinking about it, just do it, and I'll deal with the consequences or the benefits afterwards. And I will tell you the consequence, I do not enjoy getting in there. As I'm sitting in there, I'm enjoying the fact that I am able to manage this level of stress. So that has become a good, really nice challenge for me. And then the effects afterwards, it's literally, I could probably spend, and I probably will spend I'll do a podcast on just cold plunging and using heat and whatnot. And it's all over the internet as well as, TikTok and Facebook and whatnot. But the effects that it has on the brain and pushing oxygen in the brain and having a dopamine release that I would say lasts, for me personally, that dopamine effect has been no less than 5 hours, probably 6, 7, 8 hours every time I cold plunge. So this is what brought it on in because I'm engaging and allowing myself personally to engage in things that are harder and harder because I just had my 54th birthday. And every year when it comes to my birthday, again, I ask the questions, what's it going to take for me to be a better human next year? And the truth is, it's going to be harder. So if you have a friend, a family member, a doctor, a health coach, anyone out there that tells you you're not going to have to work harder next year to get the same results you did this year, they're lying to you. They're just fibbing. Because the truth is, you're going to have to work harder every single year you're on this earth for another year longer. And so I'm trying to set myself up for a victory here by doing some things that are uncomfortable. One would be getting up super early so I can start my exercise. And usually it starts in the dark or just about then. And then after that, I do my exercise. And I choose to do my cold plunging after I exercise. Some people like to do it before. I like to do it afterwards. That first thing in the morning. And I've also made the commitment that I will not allow weather to be an excuse for not doing it. Now, I'm saying that now. I might have to come on here and tell you that I failed a couple of times. And even if I do, that would be okay because I'm still going to make that commitment and do the best that I can. All right. With that being said, that's what's kind of driving it. That's the conversation of me observing over the last 27 years, and especially lately, watching people who had the same choices that you have right now to move your body better, to eat better, to think better, to sleep better, to take less drugs, to drink less alcohol. They have they had the same choices, but they no longer have those choices because their health is now not something that they can continue to improve. They may be in what we call the decline state. So I'm going to encourage you to recognize and push forward a little bit with your thoughts. See yourself in 10 years from today. See yourself in 15. Who do you want to be? And I will tell you that if you continue to build strong habits, that meaning you face the ones that you don't like to do, like me getting in a cold plunge, it'll make you stronger, not weaker. But if I wait until my body breaks down and then I decide, then can I still get healthy? Yeah, but is it going to be harder? Probably. Is it going to be as effective? Probably not. So let's dive into what I consider probably the four top things that people are seeking comfort and pleasure in, and as comfort and ease is probably what I should say. And as a result of doing it, they're down-regulating their health. It's probably making them sick. I literally think that being comfortable regularly is a big part of being sick because health isn't always really comfortable. So we'll talk about the four things. And these are the things I've observed over the last 20 plus years in practice. And I'll share them with you tonight. And again, I hope that they motivate you. So hopefully one of these, you go, yeah, I kind of do that. And I see how easy it is to make that change. Even if it's not easy, it's clear. or maybe what I'd like to say is simple, being that this is the Health Made Simple show, and that it's a simple concept or simple instructions. And when you start taking those actions, you start to like, just like when I get my cold plunge, I don't like the action. I do not like cold plunging. I will not miss a single day right now. It's like it is the effects that it has on my body are well worth the discomfort of me getting into that cold plunge. All right, so let's dive in here a little bit. So first one I want to talk about is medications and drugs. Big topic. I know I'll probably get a little pushback on this, but I'm going to say it anyways. Oftentimes, I'd say more often, probably 95% of the time, if not more, the drugs and medications that people are used to avoid difficult situations, and they're used for comfort and for ease. Meaning you have a little pain in your knee or whatnot, and you don't want discomfort. You don't want it to be hard. You don't want to slow down on the tennis court. You don't want to take a day off from running or whatever it may be, and you don't like pain, and therefore you're going to take a medication because it's comfortable. And then we think, oh, that's no big deal. Well, it is a big deal. And I'll walk through them. And I don't have time to go through every medication and every interference that it's taking, but I will say that generally, most medications, I'll give you, let's just take high blood pressure, for example. I promise you this, there's not a single case in the world of high blood pressure that the high blood pressure is caused by lack of medication. And I know you're thinking, duh, that's no kidding. There's no disease is caused by lack of medication. So we're using the medication. And so, for example, with that high blood pressure, we often blame the organ, the tissue. We blame the muscle. We blame the liver. We blame the tissue, organ, gland, or the systems. We blame them as being wrong instead of thinking maybe there's an action that I'm taking or that I'm not taking with my diet, with my sleep, with my exercise, with my thoughts that may be causing this. So let's just take, for example, we'll give another example. Let's talk about inflammation in the body. Let's say you have shoulder pain. So there's a common one. I saw a case like this today. A gentleman comes in. He's probably about 60 years old, and he has right shoulder pain. And when I asked him how long it's been going on, I said for years. And I asked him what does he do to manage it. And he says about every 6 months he gets a cortisone shot, and yet they don't seem to be having the same effect over time. And anyone that is in healthcare or in medication, they understand why this is taking place. And I'm going to map it out for you. So we think something like a cortisone shot or an anti-inflammatory, innocent, right? No big deal. Hey, doc, my shoulder's hurting. No big deal, my friend. I can help you out. Let me give you a cortisone shot. That pain will be gone by Monday. You can get back in your tennis court. You can take your trip. You won't even notice. Doc, does it have any side effects? No, you'll be fine. It doesn't affect you. Yeah, it does. That's silly. That's silly to think that it doesn't. So without going too much description, I'll share this one with you so you just start to see that all of our comfort decisions, they have consequences. Me not getting into my cold plunge also has a consequence. And the consequence would be that I won't get the dopamine effect. I won't be able to be as kind and as loving and mentally as clear as I do than when I do it. So sometimes we're losing out because we're not providing, we're not doing the hard work. So for example, when we do a cortisone shot, cortisone, as many of you recognize, it's an anti-inflammatory drug mimicked after a natural hormone in the body called cortisol. And cortisol in our body actually works as a great anti-inflammatory. But when we high dose it like that, so really what we're doing is we interfere with the way that the body is communicating with the brain. And I'm just going to walk through this so you get a real sense that our comfort, although we consider, and that's why I said this might be like cultural hypnosis or something, that we're never supposed to be in discomfort or pain. But hear me out when I say this. When we take a cortisone shot, we put it into the joint, the knee, the shoulder, whatever, maybe just sticking the butt and glutes. It interferes with the way that the brain is communicating to the body. And so what happens is if we have damaged tissue, let's say we've strained a rotator cuff or torn a little meniscus or something like that, the way that the body works is it part of the immune system, part of the healing process is it creates an inflammatory process that surges, sends messages up to the brain, says, please send me nutrients, send me healing agent, connective tissue, vitamin D, send me all of the things that I need to heal and create more tissue down here. So that's really what the plasma does. Plasma then signals for something what we call fibroblastic activity. Just hear me close in this. The fibroblastic activity is new tissue growth. It's new cell growth. But when you take a cortisone shot, it blocks that. So when people say, oh, it's no big deal, I just took an anti-inflammatory. So for your comfort, you missed out on the growth, the tissue growth that was going to help heal your body. And folks, this is one example of a million that takes place when we use drugs and medication for comfort. So I'm clearly not telling anyone, I'm not acting as your doctor, I'm not telling you not to take your medications, but I'm asking you to step back and question, does this make me healthier? Does it make us stronger? Does this increase my potential, my capacity, not only today, but down the road? And again, part of this conversation is driven by me watching people that have taken the shortcuts. They small ones though, an aspirin here, a cortisone shot here when it comes to medications. Subtle ones, taking blood pressure medication for the last 10 years, thyroid medication for the last 20 years, but never addressing the root causes. Now, what does it mean? What do you mean, doc, root causes? Yes, there's a root cause, high blood pressure. Most likely it's a nutrient deficiency, hands down. But doc, I eat pretty good. Maybe, but remember, your nutrients are always competing with your toxins. So high blood pressure across the board, I would say that 80% or more is a nutrient deficiency, most likely 20 B vitamins. So they mean, doc, wait a minute, then in order to help my blood pressure, I have to change my diet and potentially take supplements? Yes and yes. And maybe I have to increase the flexibility of my heart so it's not rigid and therefore it flexes good and gets plenty of oxygen? Yes. You mean that in order to help my blood pressure, I might have to eat better, supplement better, and exercise better? Yes, yes, and yes. But doc, those things are hard. I know, and they'll make you stronger and they'll make you healthier and they'll help you enjoy your life more. Yes. That's what I'm talking about when it comes to drugs and medications. If we're seeking them and using them, and maybe that's a question you ask yourself, is this literally getting to the root cause? Or am I temporarily, hear me close when I say this, am I temporarily looking for comfort and ease? Because when you do that, you're shortcutting your health and you're literally taking days off the calendar. You're going to say, I'm going to spend today and I'm going to have less tomorrow. So, all right, we're going to move on from that one. Let's talk about supplements for a moment. So I'm going to talk about the 4 primary things that I hear people, I don't know if I'm going to call them excuses, but they're kind of excuses that they're seeking comfort and ease into, to some degree, they're accepted answers. And I'm trying to push in the kind of into the direction of saying, no, don't accept these. You're better than that. You're stronger than that. And you're worth more than that. All right. So with that being said, number 2 here, supplements. Most often, the biggest comfort issue, easy issue I hear with supplements, doc, there's too many supplements. It's so hard to take all those supplements. Stop it. No, it's not. Most of you, if you're taking a lot of supplements like myself or my wife, or quite frankly, most of the healthy people I know that are really practicing building health, different than I'm just not sick, right? So before I get into the plunge, there's nothing wrong with me, right? So it's not like I'm depressed or anything like that, which cold plunge would be amazing, that issue as well. There's nothing wrong with me, but I'm doing something to benefit and greater my health. So that's kind of my point here. So when it comes to supplementation, worst case scenario, folks, if you take a lot of supplements like me, I might take 30 to 40 pills on any given day. That means about 2 tablespoons, if that, 2 tablespoons of supplementation. So again, I think it's more of the cultural hypnosis, the things that we've been told, you don't need to do that. There's an easier way. You don't have to unscrew all those bottles every night and dump all them, supplements into your palm of your hand and wash them down with a sip or 2 of water. Somewhere along the line, we believe in that idea, that concept that taking supplements is hard. And then unfortunately, some people agreed with it. And I know as a practitioner, especially in this holistic world, doing functional nutrition, doing functional medicine, that we are deficient in our nutrients. So here's one of the challenges, a little sidetrack here, but when we bring toxins into our body, 2 significant things happen. One, they're going to decrease our capacity and our capability to perform. So when toxins come in, so if you bring in, let's just say, let's just say alcohol will not let your body perform the same way as a complex B vitamin will. So one is going to downregulate, discoordinate the way that your body functions, and one will actually enhance the way that the Krebs cycle functions and possibly produce more ATP. So 2 totally different things. So toxins will always downregulate capability of function, and it'll also downregulate and degenerate the tissues, organs, and glands by which that toxin ended up in. So inevitably, toxins all end up in the bloodstream and they circulate through our body. So they're down-regulating the human body. Now, when it comes to nutrition, this is one of the reasons that I could categorically across the board, everybody needs some level of supplementation because our supplements are competing against our toxins. Our nutrition is competing against our toxins, combined with not just the toxins on any given day to day, but the damage that's been done to the tissues, the organs, and glands, and their capabilities to now take in those nutrients. So, for example, a couple of days here, I'm headed down to Houston on my speaking tour, and I'm going to be teaching to functional med docs and all kinds of chiropractors and all different types of healthcare practitioners, I should say. And we're going to be talking about gut health, leaky gut, how to heal the gut. Most people have beat up guts, and one of the only ways back to health is through, I guess you could take a really, really long path and do absolutely no supplementation, or you do whatever it takes, even if it's a little difficult, even if you have to follow a schedule, even if you have to consume more supplements than you're used to taking. We use supplements, vitamins, herbs, and powders, whatnot, to help heal the leaky gut. So the organs and the tissues and the glands that were destroyed, that were damaged from your toxins, we can start to improve those and level out the playing field. So when it comes to supplementation, understand that it's not that hard. And if it is hard for you, when you overcome that, big victories are on its way. Again, no different. Me hopping in a plunge. I do not like doing it. I like the effects it gives me afterwards. And is there anything wrong with me that I have to get into the plunge? Nope. No, yes, granted, if I got back from a sparring session, I was beat up, I would absolutely use the plunge. And you might say, well, then I'm using it for, my pains and discomforts. Excellent in that scenario, but not always needed. And we're thinking about, can I take actions? Can I take difficult actions that are challenging and increase my overall function, even though they're hard to do? All right, so that's number two. Now let's dive into the third one. And I think this one is, again, this is just as frequently avoided because it's hard, and a lot of cultural conversations come on. When I keep saying cultural, what I'm really meaning is just common things everyone's saying. And their excuse, I guess they really are excuses. These common hypnotic gestures, these things that we say over and over again that justify why we're not putting in some of the hard work. So let's talk about exercise for a moment. I think everybody on the face of this earth recognizes that exercise is beneficial for human beings. And listen, okay, if you're outside every single day and you're pulling weeds and you're planting things and you've got a farm, I get how hard a farm could be. Cool, awesome. If you're not doing that, bending, lifting, twisting every day, 6-8 hours a day, you need to be exercising. Because the likelihood that means that you're sitting in a car or sitting in a desk, which is a down regulation of human function. So sitting, no doubt, has become the new smoking. It is detrimental to our health. And just like I'm doing it right now, most of our culture, most of our country is sitting on every single day, 6, 8, 10, 12 hours. And when I often ask people, how often do you sit? They say, not much. Really? It's interesting. Let's walk this through. Do you get in your car this morning? Yes. Were you first sitting at your breakfast table? Yes. Then you drove to work. You got to work, sat in a desk for 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. Yes. Then you drove home to sit at the kitchen table and then sit on the couch later. Think about that. We're doing things that are almost inhuman on a regular basis, week after week, year after year, decade after decade. Is it any surprise that after several decades of doing it, that our backs hurt, that our shoulders hurt, our neck hurts, and all of these things? And the answer is no, it should not be a surprise whatsoever. The good news is that we know the formula to unwind all this, to combat these potentially bad habits that we have. What do? We move more, we eat better, we think better. And when it comes to our physical bodies, there's really three components. We got to get stronger. We have to become more flexible, more mobile, and we have to get better endurance, which means our cardiovascular system we have to improve. So what are the comfort and the ease things that people are doing? One, they lean on old injuries. If this is you, I'm speaking directly to you, meaning this, that if your reason for the fact that you don't exercise, you don't run anymore, or whatever it may be, is because you hurt your knee doing this, or your shoulder when you were 15 in high school playing football, and you used to be able to do this, there's always something more you can do today than you were doing yesterday. And that's really what I want to share with you. And this should motivate us, because if you want to become a better human being this year, All you need to do is do a little bit more today than you did yesterday. That's it. And when it comes to exercise, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to spend an hour in a gym. For the last couple of years, I've been exercising my back patio. I have some dumbbells out there, a yoga mat. I can get it out pretty good here. So we don't need these elaborate setups. They're fun to have them. I love going to the gym. I love all the different exercise. I love things like CrossFit. I love all of those things. But most of the time, my exercise is taking place at home. But I will say this, no matter what you're doing, especially if you're doing nothing, it will catch up to you. It is every day you do that. It is that slight level of comfort that you're allowing that is perpetuating and accumulating to your sickness and your demise. It is aging you faster. I don't know if I can say that any more straight other than this, that if you're not exercising, you're aging your body faster. And the beauty is, it doesn't mean you have to go work out and learn how to pump weights or anything like that. It means you just have to start to move your body today better than you were yesterday, and then start to challenge it for strength, for mobility, and your cardiovascular system. So get your heart pumping and whatnot. So those excuses about time, let's overcome these, right? So, doc, I'm so busy right now. I got 12 kids, I got 4 dogs, 2 jobs, 3 wives, whatever the excuse may be. Time is full, and I get it. I feel my schedule pretty good as well. So here's the answer. You get up earlier. That's the answer. That solves it all. You just simply get up earlier. 20 minutes. Get up 20 minutes earlier. Get a cup of coffee, stretch out for 5, exercise for 15, go do your thing. Get up earlier. And that overcomes it. Will it be hard? In the beginning, yes. Will it take discipline? Absolutely. Will it get easier? I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know that exercise is easy for me right now, but I've been doing it all my life. So I think the discipline has made it feel, and I think that it's easy. But when I'm doing it, it's hard, but I always enjoy it. I've never had a workout and I said, man, shouldn't have worked out today. I feel worse. I don't ever recall having one of those workouts, but I recall many a times when I missed a workout and said, man, I wish I worked out today. And the only way that happens is just like my cold plunging. In the beginning, it absolutely sucks. But after you do it a couple times, exercising, you're starting to get fit, and you're starting to feel the enjoyment of having a little bit more muscle on your body, how your hormones are enriched, your brain's working a little better, you're feeling a little bit better, you get in and out of your car, you can pick up your groceries. All of these things are happening just a little bit easier. Then it takes the hardness, it takes the discomfort of getting it done out just a little bit. You start to focus on what's coming versus this is hard. I don't have time. I've got these old injuries, etc. So in the event that you're not exercising, the beauty is, and hopefully this is motivating, all you got to do is start tomorrow. If you're listening to this at night or during the day, start right now. Start doing some push-ups, do standing squats, do some lunges. Those things is how it starts. And do they, at times, will they feel inconvenient? Are you going to be tired? Are you going to be sore? The answer is yes, yes, yes. Is it going to be hard in the beginning? Yes. Should you do it anyways? The answer is yes. All right, let's dive into the last one. Of course, I wouldn't leave this one out. Let's talk about diet and nutrition. This is one that I will tell you that this is a constant passing of the buck, meaning that we are always, just a little bit here, just a little bit there, no big deal. There's a reason that they call comfort foods, because they're comfortable. They're sugar, they're carbohydrates, and they're no good for us. The more comfort foods you're eating, unfortunately, probably the weaker human being you're also becoming. So I'm going to encourage you a couple things here. One, hunker down. Start paying attention to what you put into your body. We talked a little bit about toxins right there. In the event you're putting toxins in, remember that they are going to decrease your capability as a human being, whether it's in athletic performance, mental acuity, physical acuity. Your best version of you is a non-toxic version of you. There's no argument to be said that the more toxic you are, they're going to perform better. So a better version of you lives in the cleaner version of you. Will it be hard at times to deny comfort foods? And the answer is, in my experience, the answer is yes, it's going to be hard. And just like the cold plunge, it will suck as you do it, but you will reap the benefits and rewards. So I pray that everyone out here eventually just decides that, you know what, my body is way more worthy and it's too valuable to me. It's the most valuable thing that I have. There's no way I'm going to put something that wasn't designed to be put into it. You start to have that respect, that love, that pride in your own body, that you're addressing what you're putting into it and recognize it's a choice to put poison into your body, or it's a choice to put nutrients into your body that make you into a better version of you so you can fully express what I believe was the vision of your creator, right? I do not believe that our creators envisioned us to be sick and overweight and tired and diseased. No way. We all have our own, theory and philosophy and beliefs here, but I believe 100% that our creator put us here to experience all the gifts that we have. And that sometimes to really excel with any one of our gifts, how we move, how we eat, how we think, our creativity, that we're going to have to put some hard work in. But when we do, we're going to see that magic happens and that we are superhuman. So when it comes to nutrition, there's a reason they call it comfort foods, because they're comfortable. And it's easy in the beginning to just go with the flow. But I will tell you this, part of the challenge is for a lot of us is that we're hanging around the wrong people. We're hanging around people that are encouraging you actually to drink more alcohol, to, oh, you're thin enough. You can just have a piece of cake. Just enjoy the moment. Here's what I want to say to that. I think there's also some kind of perception. It's not real, but there's like a perception or a philosophy, or just kind of like a, almost like what I call black magic, when we know that it's a lie, but we're saying it anyways. I believe there's some black magic cast upon those people that are taking a lot of healthy actions in their lives. And this is what I mean by that. So there are times that I know that people think, well, why don't you just live a little bit? Don't you want to have a little fun and just have a couple cocktails or eat this birthday cake? And here's what I would say to those people. Tell you what, healthy people, when you are feeling clean, here's what happens. When you first make decisions, someone says, you want a piece of cake? You say no. Maybe that was hard in the beginning. I used to love cake. I used to eat all the time. But here's what I know. I always feel better not being toxic. Always. And one of the biggest differences, especially after when it comes to things like birthdays. So this is what will come up. Well, how about it's your birthday? It's Thanksgiving. It's 4th of July. It's Christmas. It's this day. It's that day. There's a baby. There's a death. There's a whatever it may be. When all those conversations come up, here's what I know about the day after every one of those days is that the person who doesn't consume all the alcohol and doesn't consume all the toxins always feel better than the people who did. Always. They always feel better. They move better. They think better. They're taking more action in life. They're functioning at a higher capacity than those who are toxic. So I would encourage all of you, including myself, right? Because this is a reminder for me as well. Because people still say, Doc, why don't you lighten up a little bit and have a cocktail or a piece of cake or something like that? I don't want them. I want to feel what it feels like after the cold plunge. I know that's hard work, so I can use that discipline to say no every now and then, or all the time if I want. So here's what I'm going to encourage you to allow yourself to hang around with people that respect and not only respect you, but encourage you to continue to become the best version of you. And sometimes I think we discount that. And I don't mean you have to get rid of your friends, but migrate toward the ones that are literally rooting for you to win. So in the event that you have some people that are like, oh, just do this or just do that, it's okay. And say, I'm cool. I'm just going to maybe situate myself in another situation where other people are going to be more supportive. Maybe you find those people at the gym, maybe you find them at the yoga studio, but don't believe for a moment that healthy people aren't having fun. That's one of the biggest misperceptions. I think people think you need to have fun. You need to be toxic to have fun. Well, I promise you this. My exercise is better. This is for all the people that are getting the work done, doing the hard stuff. You're exercising daily, eating good, taking your supplements. I promise you a couple things. One, our social events, they're awesome. We have a lot of fun at those. We don't need alcohol. We don't need marijuana. We don't need gummies to enjoy these events. We don't need these things to enjoy our holidays. We don't need these things to enjoy birthdays. We don't need them to enjoy sex. We don't need them to enjoy anything that we're doing. In fact, we enjoy all of them more because we're clear and our bodies and our minds feel better. So with that being said, in the event that you've used excuses of comfort, and what do I mean by comfort? Really meaning that it's easy to say yes. It's easier to succumb to that it would be yummy to have a little sugar, a little candy, a little cake. Ask yourself, will this make me a better, stronger human being? Will this help me perform at the highest level? And that by itself is a tough question to repetitively ask yourself. And again, I want to roll back to why I started this conversation. I've had the firsthand opportunity. I sit in the front row every single day when I'm in my clinic of observing people who have made these decisions to do the hard work and for those who have not. And I can tell you categorically, the people who put in the hard work do not regret it. not a single bit. Every now and then I do hear someone say, and I'm always curious what they really mean by it. They say, oh, I don't regret it. I've lived my life full out. But maybe they're leaving a lot of people in pain behind. I don't know. That's a different kind of conversation. But I'll tell you this, nobody that's living their best life, they're healthy and they're clean and they're enjoying every moment of it. So I want you to use this as motivation to allow yourself to do some of the hard work. Enjoy the hot weather, enjoy the cold, enjoy choosing not to eat the sugar and the carbohydrates, enjoy putting more supplements into your body, enjoy taking longer walks, working out harder, taking another sprint, lifting another weight, going to another yoga class, helping and supporting another individual who needs emotional, physical, chemical support, whatever it may be, and enjoy the idea of being tough in the moment versus always looking for that comfort, because I truly believe, after sitting in the front row for this long, that it is our quest for comfort and for ease that is probably making us the sickest and probably the fastest way that we are aging. All right. So hope you enjoyed that episode of the Health Made Simple show. I appreciate all that you guys do. Keep doing your thing. If you have the opportunity, I'd love for you to give us a little 5-star rating on Spotify and or Apple Podcast. That would be fantastic. Keep doing your thing. Keep sharing it out. Keep spreading love. Inevitably, it is you that helps grow this podcast. So we appreciate all that you keep doing there. And of course, we're going to continue to take action for our mind, for our body, overall wellness. Y'all be awesome.